Welcome back to the Jonestead. I'm Mary. Today is Thursday, March 12th, 2026. And as you can see behind me, it is currently snowing in Virginia. Started the day at 70 degrees, and yesterday it was sunny. I was outside doing yard work in shorts and a t-shirt. And this morning, as I was driving home from Taekwondo, literally I was seeing the temperature drop literally 10 degrees within 5 minutes. It was unbelievable. So as you can see, it's not 70 degrees anymore. Don't expect the snow to stick around because things have warmed up, but I figured I'd just share that with y'all today as a change of scenery. So I wanted to start off, I was listening to a tennis podcast the other day, and unbelievable. It's not even safe to be a professional tennis player anymore. And I used to play tennis, great sport, and you always think of it as being a pretty passive, the gentleman's game, as they say, and ladies and gentlemen. And they were talking about specifically the impacts of the gambling industry on professional tennis players these days, on top of the social media stresses that they endure. People are ruthless on social media, and it's as though it's the strangest thing because they can just hide behind their whatever they claim, whoever they claim they are, and just post whatever. They're not face to face with anyone, and they can be really mean and awful, a lot of armchair quarterbacking. But put into play the fact that these people are putting money on these players, and nowadays we know people will literally bet on anything. They'll bet on what color nail polish someone is wearing. So it has become, we've seen what's going on with the economy. Now we've seen this gambling industry growing and growing, and particularly in Virginia. But I did not realize that this was impacting the players, and the players are getting threats, direct threats from bettors. And in one case, there was a challenger, and he was getting such serious threats that even though he played the match, he could not focus on the match because of the threats he had received prior to playing. And most recently, the Daily Mail reported on March 6th that women's tennis star Panna Udvardy, she was contacted by a crazed bettor, this is from the article, in possession of personal information, who demanded she lose her match or see the members of her family harmed. And the threats were so severe that she contacted the WTA as well as the Turkish police. The person sent her messages, very personal information, saying they knew where all of her family members lived, the cars they were driving, and threatened to harm them if she won her match, even sent her a picture of a gun. And this really rattled her. And I'll link the article below, and you can see what this person sent. And it is very chilling. And so you have a lot of people that now, with the economy that we're dealing in, we have growing gambling industry. We have kind of this loss of law and order. And so now you have professional tennis players that are being threatened by people who are betting that they win or lose. And there's a lot of money involved. And I know it occurs in other sports. I guess I kind of figured and being naive, didn't see this happening in the world of tennis. But I just thought it's such a shame. It's a reflection of what's going on in the world. And again, a lack of law and order and just decent social morals. I really think they need to protect these players and crack down on the social media, what's being sent, which is what they're starting to do. Some of it is bots, but they're able to identify. I think in the article it said 45% of the derogatory, of the threats and the what's the word I'm looking for, and the criticism and just the sending horrible messages to them 44% were from gamblers. So I just wanted to put that out there. I think that needs to stop. There needs to be zero tolerance for that. So another article, Wolf Street came out with this article entitled Food Inflation in America. And he points out that the food prices have been very high since the massive inflation outburst in 21 and 2022. Things settled down in 23 and 24 a bit. However, now the food prices are accelerating, and this is based on Friday's CPI report. And this specifically focuses on consumer price index on the food at home. So those are products, those are food and beverages that people purchase, but then they consume them off the premise from where they're purchasing it. So basically grocery store and so forth. And compared to a year ago, food prices have risen by 2.45%, and this is the biggest year-over-year increase since September. And we're seeing, as an example, these are all spikes since January of 2020. Coffee continues to go up. It has increased 127% since January of 2020. Beef and veal prices have spiked. Ground beef up 73% since January of 2020. Chicken breasts and eggs have actually gone down a bit, but then fruits and vegetables have gone up, have spiked. And then the CPI for other foods, which is kind of the foods in the center of the store, so you have like the baby food, salad dressings, peanut butter, those are up 34% since January 2020. So given we're still continuing this war going on in the Middle East, the disruption of the Strait, and the supply chain and the shutdown of oil, there's some maneuvering as far as the delivery of crude oil, but there's been a significant interruption in that arena. So again, I was watching President Trump, and I do want him to succeed. I've told you all before, I voted for him 3 times. However, he keeps coming out and telling me and you that the prices are down, they've never been lower, things have never been better. And you and I go to the store and we see it, and he keeps saying it, and it's like me sitting here going, it's a beautiful sunny day here in Virginia today. It's 90 degrees and sunny out, and couldn't be better. And granted, it's a lovely cold day and snowing, but it's not sunny out. And if I keep telling you it's sunny out and it's snowing, eventually you're going to be like, she didn't know what she's talking about. So anyway, pay attention and look at the stats that are coming out. Don't just listen to what people are telling you. I don't know why he keeps saying that. I don't know who's telling him to say that other than he's being an eternal optimist. I don't know. But the reason I'm telling you is we are going to see prices continue to increase because of the disruption in the Middle East, and you're going to have supply chain issues and production issues. So just stock up on things that you like to use regularly, and that way you have them. Remember when people were warning everyone about how coffee prices were going to spike years ago? We stocked up, but then we only stock up on so much. So when prices dip a little bit, we'll pick up some more. So anyway, and then one more thing I wanted to talk about. Last week, BlackRock Fund limited their withdrawals, or this past week. Investors saw $1.2 billion fund. They wanted $1.2 billion pulled, and the fund paid $620 billion. And they capped the withdrawal from HS to $26 billion from its $26 billion H-Lend, which private credit fund. And what is really interesting is this is the first time the requests for withdrawals have exceeded 5%. So people are looking to pull their money because these private credit funds are really showing cracks, as we've been talking about. And also this week, Morgan Stanley and Cliffwater limited private credit withdrawals. And from the article, it said the exodus highlights the risks facing scores of semi-liquid funds, which were pitched to investors as a way to invest in private credit. but only provide occasional opportunities to sell. It said Cliffwater limited its $33 billion fund. Morgan Stanley limited its $7.6 billion North Haven private income fund. And so there are also questions about the actual value of those portfolios in those private credit funds. And people are scrambling to get their money out. And then just before all this started, Blue Owl, which is a private equity fund, they rattled the markets last week when they abruptly restricted investors from taking. So this is kind of what started the ball rolling of people wanting to pull their money, taking their money out. Questions are now being raised about their reported valuations. So that's really concerning trend and something to keep an eye on. And if these private equity funds, their valuations are not as stated, and they're like dominoes, these collapse, these investors are out. If that money doesn't even exist and their money was put in and their money's gone, that's billions of dollars. So we'll need to keep an eye on that. We've been hearing about cracks in this private equity, and it's been their way to kind of work around the banks. And we have very big money people loaning out money, so people don't really know where that money is being loaned to, with the exception of how it's being reported. So that is something to pay attention to. And again, what do? We can control, and that is to prepare and make sure you stock up on your food and your water, and have some money set aside best you can in the event of an emergency. Make sure you're stocking up on your staples right now, because those are definitely going to go up in price. And I've seen some articles and seen some videos where people are really predicting significant spikes. So just, if you use it, go buy it now while the price is somewhat affordable. And that way you're stocked up on it. And also make sure you're paying attention to what's going on around you, situational awareness. Unfortunately, there was another shooting today at ODU University, and details on that are still coming out. From what I understand, it was ROTC members of the university that were shot, and I have no idea who did it. The shooter was shot and killed there, but last I checked, they hadn't released the identity of the shooter. So anyway, pay attention to what's going on, and keep praying for our country. Pray for our troops that are serving overseas and here in the country, and our president. And I thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share. And I look forward to talking to you all again soon.